Powered by Riverside FM.
Powered by Riverside.
Welcome to the UP. I am your host, Lionel Jones. Welcome on a second edition in one day of the UP. Hit that like and subscribe button. Keep helping to grow the channel. First of all, thanks for those of you that have subscribed already. Over 5,000 subscriptions in a month, and never in my wildest dreams could I have ever imagined that this show would be taken off like it is. So thanks to all the subscribers out there. Thanks for listening. Thanks to those of you that hit that like button. Thank you to those of you who send me emails and write comments, whether we agree or disagree. Thanks for putting in the effort to do that. It makes the show the show. Big news, and it's been big news. It's hard to get away from it. You know, with the Olympics right around the corner, I'm traveling over to Germany next week to participate in United World Games with the 19U USA basketball team. So I'm pretty excited about that. But with the Olympics right around the corner, you know, there's that buzz around Caitlin Clark. There's a whole bunch of controversy around Caitlin Clark, whether she was snubbed or not snubbed, and the selection process and why she was left off the team, and there are better players than her. The one thing that I don't want to do is deal with speculation or conjecture. And so there's been a few shows where I've said, you know, we're just going to deal with the truth. And because when you get into a debate and your debate is based on speculation, it's not a worthwhile debate. You're never going to win a debate with someone if you're speculating. And so there's just been a lot of narratives out there when it comes to Caitlin Clark. I've watched a lot of shows, you know, from First Take to Jason Whitlock's Fearless to all of these people that are chiming in on the whole Caitlin Clark situation. And some of it is really good. There's a lot of meat and potatoes in these conversations and some of these debates, but there's also a lot of speculation. You know, sometimes really good information gets clouded by hate and players in the WNBA hating Caitlin Clark. How do you quantify that? How do you measure whether or not there are a number of players that hate Caitlin Clark? You're speculating. And the players that are hating on Caitlin Clark, they're never going to admit that they're hating. So it's a waste of time. Kind of see my point? It's a waste of time. Yeah, I watched an episode of Jason Whitlock's Fearless, and, you know, a lot of his narrative is based on sexuality of players in the league, hating on Caitlin Clark because she's heterosexual. For me, I don't think that that's accurate. I don't think anyone is looking at Caitlin Clark saying she's a heterosexual female and we're going to hate on her for that. I don't think that's the case. But again, I don't know. How do you measure that? That would be pure conjecture and speculation. So what we're going to deal with on the UP today is fact. I'm going to hit you with fact. For example, Caitlin Clark was left off the Olympic team roster. From all the sources out there, she's been named as an alternate, and that's her role within the framework of USA basketball. The statement that I'm hearing about people that are defending the picking of the team and the members that were selected, there's been a lot of reasons why. Some cite chemistry, some cite inexperience, some cite they wanted veteran players that have participated in the Olympics before. They wanted chemistry, so they want to have players that have played together. I've also heard players that have attended training camp and players that understand Cheryl Reeves, who is the USA head coach's system. But the one thing that I hear the most out of all of that stuff is that they picked the 12 best players. Like, we're not going to jeopardize our chances at winning a gold because of marketing. And the mistake that the Caitlin Clark supporters keep bringing up is that she's good for viewership, she's popular, she's going to help grow the sport. That is all true. But what you're doing is you're dismissing her talent. And I'm not saying that she is top 12 in the WNBA. But I'm also going to say, as a college basketball coaches that evaluate talent all the time, again, this is my industry. I don't think a player of Caitlin Clark's caliber will hurt the USA basketball team. See, people that are against Clark is saying we're not going to jeopardize winning for marketing. Like, the only reason why you would put Caitlin Clark on the team and the only way she can help the team is from a marketing standpoint. Like, she is a Division III player that is being brought up because she's a popular Division III player to try to play in the Olympics games. So it almost sends a message like she's pure garbage. Like, the only reason why you would ever have a player like her on your team is to sell tickets and TV ratings and popularity. That's the danger of going with the narrative of marketing. She's more than just a marketer. I'm not going to let that one slide. Again, I'm not saying she's top 12, but she's not strictly a marketing product for USA basketball. Like, when you start going down that road, that's not dealing with the truth. And that's what we're going to deal with today. They claim that that's the main agenda, to pick the best 12. And the best 12 hasn't always been the agenda before. And the fact is, the truth is, USA basketball has done just fine when that wasn't the agenda. And the truth is, you can't now go back and say, well, Lionel, no, that's always been the agenda, is to pick the best 12. It hasn't been that way in the history of the sport and the selection process for USA women's basketball. It hasn't been the trend for USA basketball. Rookies that have played on the United States women's basketball team. In 1996, Rebecca Lobo played. I remember Rebecca Lobo coming out of UConn. That was at the beginning stages of the WNBA. You mean to tell me she was one of the top players in the world? Why was she put on the team? That's fact. That's truth. 1996, look it up. Rebecca Lobo coming out of UConn, was on the United States Olympic team. 2004, Deanna Taurasi was a rookie in the WNBA that was put on the United States Olympic team. Deanna Taurasi was a hell of a player in college. But are you going to try to sell me that she was one of the top 12 players in the world at that time? If you believe that, I got some swampland in Florida that I want to sell. 2004, look it up. Candace Parker, 2008, rookie, fantastic player, one of the greats. Love Candace Parker. You mean to tell me she was one of the best 12 in the world at that time to compete for a gold medal for the United States Olympic team? Are you going to try to sell me that? I'm not dealing with speculation. I'm dealing with fact that these players were appointed to the United States Olympic team as rookies. Breanna Stewart, 2016, was on the United States Olympic team as a rookie. These were all rookies. And you can't tell me that they were top 12 in the United States at the time. You're not going to tell me that. Again, I coach college basketball. I know, I remember those times. I'm old enough. I'm 51 years old. So this is not history for me. I remember watching these players when they came out. So I know what I'm talking about. I have a background in this industry. They were not one of the top 12 players in this country. And I've mentioned this in past pods. You can go to the men's side as well. And Christian Laettner was a part of the Dream Team, and he was not one of the top 12 players in the country at that time and didn't belong on that team in terms of talent. But somebody made a decision to put him on the team, and it didn't seem to hurt the Dream Team at all. Didn't seem to hurt him at all. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is not speculation. I'm going to throw some truth bombs at you tonight. You're going to have to deal with the truth tonight. It's amazing to me, the selection process and the players that were chosen for the team. I'm going to start with Chelsea Gray. Has not played a game all season long. And I'm not going to sit here and dispute with you whether or not she's a good player. She's a fantastic player. But the fact is, she hurt herself during the fall of last year and still hasn't been able to come back and play yet at almost break time for the Olympic Games. So you're appointing a player to the roster. You don't know how she's going to heal from her injury. She hasn't played a game. There's going to be an element of rust. There's going to be an element of chemistry. You're going to go from not playing in almost a year to playing in the Olympic Games. So you mean to tell me if your sole agenda is to win gold and pick the 12 best players, not saying Chelsea can't play, but isn't that a risk? Her injury, and you don't know how she's going to be if she's going to come back right. You have no evidence or proof that she's going to be ready, but yet and still you appoint her to the team. How does that work? How does that work? If your agenda is solely focused on that gold medal, you're telling me that a spot can make a difference when it comes to Caitlin Clark, where you've got an injured player right now that hasn't played a game yet in the WNBA season, and you don't know how she's going to come back from her injury. You can speculate that she's going to be ready. But you don't know. You don't know. Diana Taurasi. Oh, Diana Taurasi, good player. Great legacy. Not taking anything away from her legacy. Stud player at UConn. One of the best to ever lace them up. I think she's on pace for her sixth gold medal. The one thing that I hear about Caitlin Clark is it's okay if she's not on the team this year. She's going to have her time. She's going to have the opportunity to win multiple gold medals. Well, so did Rebecca Lobo and Diana Taurasi and all the players that I named earlier. Candace Parker, Stewie. They all would have had ample opportunity to win multiple gold medals. Diana Taurasi is going for her sixth. Here's truth. Diana Taurasi is one of the greats. Just like on the men's side, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, one of the greats. When those two played, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, in the Olympics, at that time, they probably didn't have their best game. Magic Johnson wasn't even in the league. Larry Bird had a bad back. So you could say arguably at that time, they weren't one of the top 12 players in the country. Is Diana Taurasi right now a top 12 player? I want to put the stats up. A comparison. Again, I'm not going to speculate. I'm just going to hit you with fact and truth. And here's the comparison. Halfway through the league so far before the Olympic Games start, we're going to look at Caitlin Clark's stats and Diana Taurasi's stats. And again, I'm a coach. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that stats tell the whole story because they don't. When it comes to players, stats don't always tell the story, but it gives you a good foundation of where players are. Doesn't tell the whole story, but it gives you a foundation of where players are. Look at Caitlin Clark's stats. Look at Diana Taurasi's stats. This is this year. I'm not speculating. This is fact. Document it. Book it. I want you to just look at those stats and just stare at them for a minute. This is one of the greats. Some people may argue the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Diana Taurasi at 42 years of age. So she's not a spring chicken anymore. She's one of the greats. I acknowledge that. But look at the rookie, Caitlin Clark stats compared to hers. And supposedly, Caitlin Clark is struggling this year. A rookie's stats compared to a great. And again, I'm just dealing with the narrative that the Olympic Basketball Committee gave to us. They're trying to pick the best 12 players right now. Right now. To go and try to win gold. So you got a player that hasn't played a game this year, who you have no idea how she's going to come back from that injury. You have no idea. You're speculating. And then you have one of the greats, Diana Taurasi, on a downward trend. Because if you say Caitlin Clark is struggling, Diana Taurasi at least has to be in the conversation of struggling. Look at the stats. Look at the stats. Again, they don't tell the whole story. Man, I'm just showing you a comparison. I'm just showing you a comparison. Some of you don't want to hear it, and that's fine. I'm just hitting you with facts. I'm just hitting you with facts. A lot of people that are on Caitlin Clark's bandwagon, and again, I'm not on anybody's bandwagon. I just want what's done to be right, what's done to be just, and the growth of the women's game, because I have a lot of horses in the race. Again, I coach college basketball. This is what the WNBA has accomplished this year. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm going to hit you with facts. This is not speculation. I'm not going to sit here and say the WNBA is growing and Caitlin Clark is the big reason why the WNBA is growing. I'm not going to do that. Speculation. I can't. It has to be measurable. Because when you debate, no one's going to listen to speculation. They can dance around speculation all they want. Here's what the WNBA has accomplished. Attendance in the WNBA is up 156% from last year. That's fact. More than half of all WNBA games have been sold out. More than half of WNBA games have been sold out. They're up 156% from last year. That's a fact. Here's another fact. Caitlin Clark was not in the league last year. It's a fact. Dance around that. Another accomplishment from the WNBA. About 400,000 fans have attended WNBA games this season, filling WNBA arenas to 94% capacity. Never been done, but that's happening this year. This year, this is happening all of a sudden. I don't know why, but all of a sudden this year, that's happening. That's a fact. Here's another fact. Caitlin Clark was not in the league the previous years. That's a fact. This year's televised games on ABC and ESPN, etc., other platforms, are averaging 1.3 million viewers, nearly triple the season average last year of 462,000. They tripled their viewership to 1.3 million viewers. That's fact. That's happening this year. All of a sudden, that's happening this year. For some reason, that didn't happen in previous years. I wonder why. I'm not going to speculate why. I'm just going to say Caitlin Clark wasn't in the league. That's fact. I don't have measurables that it was just her that's driving all of these numbers. I'm just saying she's in the league this year. You're getting these numbers. She hasn't been in the league previous years. You weren't getting those numbers. That is fact. That's not speculation. That's a proven measurable. WNBA countdown. So the pregame show is averaging about 741,000 viewers. This is the freaking pregame show. A 211% increase from last year's average. Wonder why? All of a sudden this year, these numbers are just jumping. Just jumping. You've got 20 plus years of WNBA basketball, and all of a sudden this year, numbers are jumping. Not going to speculate why. I'm just going to tell you a fact. Caitlin Clark is in the league this year. She wasn't in the league previous years. I'm not telling you she's driving the numbers. I'm just stating that there seems to be a correlation at these numbers jumping off the page. The WNBA online merchandise store has already set a single season sales record with 4+ months left, 4+ months left in the season, they've already sold and set a single season sales record. Their sales are up 756% compared to last year. I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse. I'm just going to let that just sit and marinate for you. We're dealing with truth. That's a fact. That's a fact. The WNBA social channels garnered 157 million video views through the first week of the season, and an all-time high, up 380% compared to last year. That's a fact. See, this is about growing the game, man. These are unbelievable numbers. Why would you want to stop the locomotive that is coming down the tracks? You've got to figure out what's driving these numbers and promote the shit out of that. Right? The WNBA set an all-time high for League Pass. Those of you that don't know what League Pass is, it's the subscription that you get from DirecTV where you can watch all of the WNBA games. All-time high for League Pass. That's up 355% all of a sudden this year versus last season. So here's what I'm trying to say. For some reason, this year, business is booming. And so if I'm the CEO or president of a company and I've been losing profit forever in my company, and we've been struggling to make ends meet, and we have to borrow on top of borrow and get loan after loan from another entity, and then all of a sudden we start doing really well, like those numbers that I read you displayed, well, hell, CEO or president, I'm going to try to figure out what's driving those numbers, right? And whatever is driving those numbers, I'm going to put that at the forefront of my business. That's what presidents and CEOs do. That's not speculation. Homie, that's fact. I just hit you with raw, factual numbers that you can look up on your own. You don't have to take my word for it. Research it. We're in the age of technology. You can research anything that you want to research. Man, unbelievable. Cheryl Reeves, coach of the Minnesota Lynx, done a tremendous job with the Minnesota Lynx. They had their dynasty with Simone Augusta. Oh, man, I remember that team. Supported the Minnesota Lynx women's basketball team. Cheryl Reeves done a fantastic job. She's also the coach of the USA women's basketball team. And I'm not going to deal with whether or not Cheryl Reeves wanted Caitlin Clark on the team or not. There's no measurables. Like, she's never going to admit that in public. There's no measurables with that. So I'm not even going to waste time on it. I'm not going to speculate whether she likes Caitlin Clark or not. It's a waste of time. What I will hit you with from Cheryl Reeves is a tweet by Cheryl Reeves that was tweeted out by Coach at the start of the WNBA season. There was a lot of fanfare for Caitlin Clark's first game. And again, I'm not speculating, but I think it rubbed some people the wrong way. I can only go by the actions and the words of people in the league. Here's a tweet by Cheryl Reeves. It says, Minnesota Lynx versus the Chicago Sky, 7 p.m. Central Time. Though fans won't be able to watch, #Lynx fans, can go to the Links app to follow along via play-by-play. Or if you're in the market, come to the game as we start the season off right. Nothing wrong with that tweet. Promote your team. The Minnesota Lynx brand is big in Minneapolis. Again, they had their time. They had their dynasty. They won multiple world championships in the dub. So proud of the team. Here's where you lose me. Hashtag 12 teams. Hashtag with more than one player. That's what Reeves wrote at the start of the season. It's more than one player. Of course it is. If you put Caitlin Clark in an arena by herself, nothing gets done. There's 12 teams in the league, so everybody has a little bit piece of the pie. But my question becomes, at a time where you're hitting your most popular time, I just read you the numbers that are incredible. You've never smelled those numbers before. Your focus is to try to downplay in a league that's struggling a possible entity that's driving great numbers. Why would you do that? I'm not speculating here. I'm trying to see what would be the value in writing something publicly that says hashtag 12 teams, hashtag the Wisps more than one player. Who is she talking about? Again, this is not unmeasurable either because she didn't say Caitlin Clark. But I would have to assume that she was talking about Caitlin Clark. Now, this is the head coach of the USA women's basketball team and the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx who had their moment in the sun. When they were running the league, I'm sure that the Minnesota Lynx were prioritized over other teams in the league. Why? Because you were great. Why? Because you were a dynasty. You had your time. So can't somebody else come to the table and sit too? Someone that has an opportunity to grow the game? I just read you the numbers. And I don't understand, man, why people are trying to stop that train. Like, I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. I had to talk about this because it's just irking me on both sides. There's a lot of speculation and a lot of people that are debating about this, and they're not standing on truth. And I'm going to hit you with one last fact. The mission statement or the criteria of USA women's basketball, the statement or the policy that they've always stood on as an organization says the USA women's basketball mission is to be a worldwide leader in sport through competitive excellence in international competition and by promoting and growing and elevating the game at all levels. Your priority and your mission is to promote international competition, growing and elevating the game at all levels. So if that's your mission statement, like any great business has a mission statement, if that's your mission statement, that's got to be a part of your evaluation in putting a team together. And even if it's not, you've got to be smart enough and intelligent enough to recognize unique circumstances. And for me, I'll accept the fact that Caitlin Clark is not on the team. But my question becomes, looking at your statement, that's a fact. That's not my statement. That's USA Basketball statement. How is leaving Caitlin Clark off the team adhering to that mission statement? Explain to me that. I love women's sports. I'm going to promote it. I coach it. Here's what I'm going to tell you, and I'm just being real with it because I have other priorities. And you've got to prioritize as you go through and watch the Olympics. I mean, you got your daily life stuff, and then you have those moments when you sit down at the TV and you have to choose what you want to watch. I'm telling you right now, I won't watch a minute of USA women's basketball. I won't watch a minute of that. I'm not boycotting the team. I wish the team well. I hope they get gold. I just have no interest. My wife is a casual sports fan. If she were not married to me, she probably wouldn't sit down on her own and watch a basketball game or an NFL football game. But because we spend so much time together, she's gotten to have some interest in some of these sports at certain times. She has started to have some interest in women's basketball through my team that I coach, and then the NCAA, which has been really exciting for March Madness the last 2 years. Here's what I know. Whether it's right or wrong, it's the truth. She has no interest in watching the USA women's basketball team without Caitlin Clark on the team. Whether that's right or wrong, that's her choice. And she's only one person. So her one viewership and my one viewership won't hurt NBC or whoever's broadcasting the Olympics. It won't hurt the Olympics women's basketball team. It won't hurt the WNBA. But like my wife is only one person, there are millions that are just like her that won't have interest. And that's what the WNBA, the Olympic Women's Basketball Committee, and the players that are supporting her being off the team are missing. Where there is one, there is many. And you're not going to sell me that by adding her to the team, that she would hurt the USA's chances of getting gold. She would only enhance the USA women's basketball team. This has been Unconventional Playbook. And today, we just dealt with the truth. Whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it. Because the truth is the best thing going today. Hit that like and subscribe button. This has been Unconventional Playbook.
Powered by Riverside.